Rolls-Royce sells fewer than 6,000 cars a year. Ferrari sells more. Lamborghini sells more. Even Bentley outsells Rolls-Royce almost every single year. And yet Rolls-Royce is one of the most profitable, most desired car brands on the planet. No Super Bowl ads. No celebrity endorsement deals. No billboard campaigns. No influencer partnerships. While every other automaker on earth is fighting for your attention, Rolls-Royce does something almost nobody else in business dares to do. It doesn't chase you. It waits for you to come to it. So how does a company sell cars that start around $350,000 and can climb past $1 million without ever running a single traditional ad campaign? The answer isn't in the engineering. It's in psychology. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing this same strategy hiding inside some of the most profitable businesses in the world. Every year, major car manufacturers spend billions competing for the same thing: attention. Reach more people. Sell more units. Cut prices. Grow market share. Repeat. It's the standard playbook. Volkswagen, Toyota, Ford, they all play this game because their business model depends on volume. Sell millions of cars, make a small margin on each one, and the profit comes from scale. Rolls-Royce looked at that playbook and rejected almost every rule in it. The company isn't trying to become the biggest manufacturer in the world. It's not chasing market share. In fact, Rolls-Royce deliberately caps its own growth. In 2023, its best year in over a century of history, the company delivered just a little over 6,000 cars globally. For comparison, Toyota sells that many vehicles roughly every 40 minutes. That's not a limitation. That's the entire business model. Because leadership at Rolls-Royce understands something most companies never accept: luxury dies the moment it becomes common. If Rolls-Royce suddenly built 200,000 cars a year, the brand wouldn't grow, it would collapse. The moment your neighbor, your coworker, and half of your city can own one, the exclusivity disappears, and exclusivity is the entire product. This is one of the oldest principles in economics: scarcity creates value. The fewer people who can have something, the more everyone else wants it. Diamonds, rare art, limited edition sneakers, the model is everywhere. But almost no company has the discipline to actually follow it when the money is on the table to grow faster. Rolls-Royce has that discipline. And it's made the brand more valuable, not less. Here's the part most people miss. The car itself isn't the product. The feeling of owning it is. Think about how a normal car purchase works. You compare horsepower, fuel economy, reliability ratings, resale value, price per feature. Now think about how a Rolls-Royce buyer thinks. They're not asking how many miles per gallon does this get. They're asking, what does this say about who I am before I even speak? How rare is this? Will anyone else in the room have one? That's a completely different psychological transaction. And once emotion becomes the reason for buying, price stops being the obstacle. Price becomes proof. Rolls-Royce understood this decades ago. The company isn't in the transportation business. It's in the identity business. That's why nearly every Rolls-Royce sold today isn't just purchased, it's commissioned. Through the company's in-house customization program, buyers can specify almost anything: exterior paint mixed from scratch, rare wood veneers sourced from a single tree, hand-embroidered interior artwork. Even personal family crests worked into the headrests. Some buyers have asked for paint colors matched to a sunset they saw on vacation. Others have matched the interior stitching to their favorite watch, or the paint to their private yacht. In several documented cases, the customization alone has cost more than an entire luxury sedan from a competing brand. And that's exactly the point. The moment a product becomes truly one of one, comparison shopping becomes impossible. You can't search online whether it's a good deal on something that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Now here's where Rolls-Royce does something that would terrify most CEOs. Imagine demand for your product suddenly doubles. What does almost every company do? Build another factory. Increase production. Sell more, faster, while the demand is hot. Rolls-Royce frequently does the opposite. Waiting lists for certain models have stretched well over a year, and the company treats that not as a bottleneck to fix, but as an asset to protect. Because a long wait doesn't just delay a sale. It builds anticipation. And anticipation is one of the most powerful psychological forces in marketing. Humans consistently assign more value to things that are hard to obtain. It's the same instinct behind ticket scalping, limited sneaker drops, and restaurant reservations that book out months in advance. By the time a Rolls-Royce owner finally takes delivery of their car, they haven't just bought a vehicle. They've spent a year, sometimes longer, emotionally invested in the outcome. The wait itself becomes part of what they're paying for. So if Rolls-Royce isn't buying ads, how does the world even know the brand exists? Through something advertising money literally cannot buy, proof. When a founder who just took their company public shows up in a Rolls-Royce. When a royal family uses one for a state visit. When an athlete, a music icon, or a Fortune 500 CEO chooses the brand, that's not a paid placement. That's a silent endorsement from someone with nothing to gain by lying. People trust what they observe far more than what they're told. A commercial says this is a great product. A visible, credible person quietly using the product says it's true, without saying a word. This is influence marketing in its purest, oldest form, and it existed long before the term influencer did. There's one more layer to this, and it shows up in the actual engineering of the car. Rolls-Royce doesn't optimize for lap times or 0 to 60 numbers the way Ferrari or Lamborghini does. It optimizes for the absence of effort. The cabin is engineered to be almost silent. Engineers add extra sound insulation specifically so passengers can't hear road noise, wind noise, or even much of the engine. The suspension is tuned to smooth out road imperfections so completely that owners describe it as floating. The rear coach doors, which open backwards hinged at the rear, aren't a performance feature at all. They exist purely so a passenger can step out with elegance instead of climbing out. None of this is about excitement. It's about removing friction from the owner's life entirely. And that's the real difference between a premium product and a true luxury product. Premium products compete on features. Luxury products compete on feelings. Every part of this strategy depends on one thing: extraordinary discipline. Rolls-Royce doesn't run discount promotions. It doesn't flood dealerships with inventory to hit a quarterly sales target. It doesn't sacrifice craftsmanship to cut costs, even when doing so would boost short-term profit. Because leadership understands something a lot of companies forget under pressure: reputation compounds over decades, but it can be damaged by a single bad decision. One flood of cheap inventory, one viral story about declining quality, and a century of brand equity can start unraveling. So every car that leaves the factory in Goodwood, England isn't just a transaction. It's another data point reinforcing a story the brand has been building since 1904. Here's the lesson underneath all of this, and it applies far beyond the car industry. Success doesn't always belong to the company with the biggest factory, the largest ad budget, or the highest sales numbers. Sometimes it belongs to the company that understands human psychology better than its competitors. Because people don't just buy products. They buy identity. They buy status. They buy the story a product lets them tell about themselves. Rolls-Royce figured that out generations ago. And in a world where nearly every brand is shouting for attention, the company that says the least, and makes you wait the longest, has become one of the most desired names in the world. It never tried to become the biggest.